Welcome once again in another episode of e-marketing here on educator.com. My name is Jim, and today we are going to modernize a little bit and talk about the most effective way of communicating to your clients or to friends and peers. This is the form of text messaging, and of course we all have smartphones, we've got iPhones, we've got Droids, we've got, well, even flip phones, which are kind of old news these days, but this is really the way to go. The internet is getting smaller, and receiving text messages in this little device is the most effective means. Why? Because we carry it everywhere. Okay, everywhere we go, we have a cell phone in our hands, and text messaging is definitely the way to go. So let's go ahead and dive right in and go over the lesson overview. First of all, I kind of explained already the purpose behind sending out text messages regarding your business is because obviously everybody has a cell phone now. If you don't have a cell phone these days, you're probably not in business, so this video won't help you. But most of you, I'm sure, do have a cell phone or a smartphone, and you are able to receive text messages to some degree. And we're going to talk about the best way to collect cell phone numbers. Okay, not just cell phones, just cell phone numbers. All right, and why not just Twitter it? Of course, Twitter is been inspired by cell phones, and we tweet, we send out small messages. Why not just Twitter? Well, I'll just go ahead and answer that for you right now, because not everybody is on Twitter. Okay, not everyone on Twitter. Okay, there are far more people that have cell phones than Twitter accounts. So, and also we're going to talk about the different cell phone carriers such as Verizon and AT&T. Okay, and whatever else is out there. I guess there's Sprint. Okay, but it doesn't really matter what carrier that you use. This lesson will be able to accommodate you regardless what the carrier is. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to the first slide over here. So why do we need to text message? Well, first of all, it is a direct contact with you and your customer or prospects. Now, of course, you want to get permission from them to be able to receive the messages. One of the things that I'm a strong advocate against is reading text messages while you're driving. So do not, I repeat, do not, for your safety, read text messages or send, while driving. I've seen too many disasters already. So, but fortunately in this lesson, you will need a laptop to send out text messages. So unless you're really creative or crazy, you'll need to be behind a desk or a coffee shop or some sort of workplace, any place but your car, to send out these mass text messages. Another nice thing about text messaging is that it's less expensive. It's cheap. Rather than the high cost of networking, for instance, going out to chambers of commerce and driving here and from, using TV, radio ads, well, those are big dollar signs, and for those of us who can afford it, great. For the rest of us, we want to be money conscious. We want to have the most cost effective. And text messaging is great because it is low cost and it is powerful. Also, it is far more effective than emailing. Why? I'll tell you why. For one, it's pretty much a guarantee, that the recipient, I'll put guarantee to be received. The recipient will receive the message. I will get a message right here unless I opt out or I block you. Now the chances of you opting out and blocking, it's kind of difficult, but I would have to, way we're going to teach this lesson is that you will have permission by the person to send text messages to their cell phone. Of course, the nice thing about it is that to collect cell phone numbers uses the same technique as collecting names and emails. Okay, so sending out names and emails, as you'll find, is the same method that we'll use to send out text messages. Now, the only thing you got to remember is that you can't, when sending out a text message, you can't send out a long email, okay? In other words, if this was, unlike emails, you can't have a lot of words. What I would just basically say is keep it to 100 characters or less, okay? In other words, the rules of Twitter, 100 some characters or less. Now, which business can use this? Well, for instance, if you are a bar or restaurant, you have happy hour, and you want to announce to your list, hey, we've got happy hour from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., and we're serving lobsters and beer and all this good stuff, so come on in. Or you may want to add the, hey, I've got a special item of clothing, we're giving away free such and such, come on over to the store. You want to send out a text message, it's instant, it's good for the moment, and people receive it, and they'll make the decision whether they want to take advantage of that. That's how powerful, that's the beauty of text message. It is good for at the moment events. Okay? At the moment events. And now with smartphones, okay, unlike text messaging, smartphones, you can actually have links to your text messages, okay, but only works if you have a smartphone, and I guess a BlackBerry would be kind of considered a smartphone, but it's got to have a link that, the smartphone has a browser, so if a regular flip phone doesn't have browser capabilities, then it's kind of obsolete. And I would say that while a lot of people have browser capabilities with their phones, a lot of people don't, so take that into consideration. I would just send simple messages, but that's my whole thing. So how do you capture cell phones from your website? Well, let's take a look at a website that I created some time ago. And these people are personal coaches. So obviously they like to send out messages, inspirational messages every now and then, things to get you uplifted. Now, this section right here, and I'll use a different colored marker here, this section right here is a place where this is the block where you collect names, emails, and notice that, okay, if we zoomed in, which is represented by this block right here, you notice that you collect names, email, mobile number, and then carrier. If you're going to collect cell phones, you need to make sure you collect the carrier, otherwise it won't work. Okay, this is the single most important thing. Believe it or not, you need to know the carrier. Just having the phone number is not going to work. Okay, so, and you'll find out later on in this lesson, in a few minutes, why this is important. Okay, so if I were to go to a browser right now, okay, and I'll go there. Here is World Luminaries. Again, these are personal coaches. And notice right here, and I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. Okay, on this bottom side, bottom right-hand side, okay, you can enter your name, your email, your mobile phone number, and then, of course, the carriers. And the carriers, well, there's a lot of carriers out there, but the main ones are Verizon, T-Mobile, Sprint, AT&T, and Cricket for senior citizens out there. So this is what happens, and then once you've submitted this, it will go to the database, which is represented on the next slide. So this goes to a database here. And on this database, okay, here I wrote website, first name, last name. Of course, in this case, it would be cell phone number and then cell phone carrier. Okay, that's what you're having to collect. Okay, and then basically once you have that information, hear me out now. This is the important part. Once you have this information, once you've collected into your database, you need to export this information. Export it into a Excel sheet or a text file. Okay? Why? Because eventually you're going to have to convert the phone numbers to email. That's right. And I'm going to show you how to do that. You've got to export this data into your desktop or your laptop, either as an Excel sheet or as a text file. Take all the phone numbers and convert them into emails. Okay. Now, once you have those, then we can go on sending messages. Now, say, for instance, you're in a situation where you're not able to do that, whatever the case may be. Okay, maybe too much work for you, and you want your limited budget. You really don't want to pay your web developer that much money on converting numbers to emails. Well, then what I would say is use an online service, and there's plenty out there. All you really have to do is do a Google search and type in send SMS online, okay? And you'll have a multitude of websites out there, which I'm going to show you in a second here. One of them is CMS, okay, CMSMS, okay, .com. If you enter a person's cell phone number, okay, for a fee, you can go ahead and send out text messages. Let's go ahead and let me show you a PDF file of the different services out there. I believe this is the one. Here it is. This is available to you as a download with this lesson, and it lists several websites out there where that if you enter the cell phone numbers, you can go ahead and send them out. And if you scroll down, here are some of the websites with the addresses with their screen captures. Okay, and you can go ahead and look at it at your leisure. I would visit them. I don't know the details of these websites, what the cost is, what the rates are. Some may be free, some may have some conditions on it, but it's important that I actually mention that to you. My method, of course, is to convert the cell phone numbers into emails and send it that way. That way I don't have to use a third party, but you know what? Whatever saves time, whichever is efficient for you. So using a service like a website of some sort, if that works for you, I would use it. Okay, now we're back to the slides, going to the next one. Okay, so now we're back to the discussion about converting the phone to an email. Okay, so before we go on to the next slide, what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically talk about the concept here about converting phones to emails. So if we have a phone number, and I'm just going to come up with a random number, say 555-000-1111. Okay, that phone doesn't exist. Say, for instance, and this guy has a carrier of Verizon. Okay, so what's going to happen is you must know, first of all, the carrier, and you must know the phone number. And then every carrier has a specific email address per phone, and it's usually something like this. In this case, it would be the phone number, okay, at, and then there is a domain behind it, domain.net or something like that. For Verizon, for this number here, it would be 555-000-1111 at vtex, and I think it's .net, could be .com, I don't know. But you see what I'm saying? This is an actual email address. And there are resources online that'll help you determine what the address is or what the ending address is for the carrier. And I have available to you for download a PDF that lists all this. So let's go. Here we are. Okay. And for North America, and especially here in the United States, the more popular companies, AT&T, it's the 10-digit phone number at text.att.net. So again, export the database, convert the cell phone numbers to an email. It's really simple. Okay. For instance, let's go. Nextel is another one. The 10-digit phone number at messaging.nextel.com. I'm going to go ahead and increase. Well, actually, it's pretty much big right now. Let's zoom in a little bit more. Okay. Looking at some of the more popular, T-Mobile. Okay. it's the 10-digit phone number at tmobile.net. Verizon, again, 10-digit phone number at vtex.com. So I was pretty close there. So you can download this and do what you need to do with it and apply it. So change it. Okay, change the cell phone numbers into the appropriate email. All right, and then finally, once you have that, you want to re-import that Excel sheet. Ask your webmaster, or you can do yourself. Re-import, okay, the data, and then just send it out. And you can use, of course, I've always been advocating Campaign Monitor. You can use Constant Contact. You can use iContact. Here are some other examples of phone numbers. Don't bother calling them. These phone numbers don't exist. So here, okay, this is obviously a Verizon phone number. This is an Alltel phone number. This is an AT&T phone number. And this is a phone number from a carrier I've never heard. I guess, anyway, I've never heard of them, so we won't go into it. But I did find it somewhere. At any rate, this is exactly what you need to do. Send text messages. I highly advise it. Make sure you get permission first and do so sparingly. I would say maybe, well, only when you need something at the moment, okay? It is very powerful, very, very effective. Again, I definitely advise at the moment events, something like a call to arms, or maybe a happy hour situation, or an immediate meeting situation. You can use it within your specific group of people. You can send text messages. Instead of we're meeting here, we're going to meet there. So whatever the purpose may be, I've showed you how to do it. Again, the downloads are available for you. This is Jim here on educator.com. Stay tuned for the next lesson.